Hi, I'm Woo Young Chung, track producer for Track B. I'm delighted that you decide to join us for this session. Data up and also digital transformation is becoming a critically important in our field. In this session, our two distinguished speakers will be discussing data up and digital transformation of organization. Now, without much ado, I'm going to turn it over to Susan.
Thank you, Professor Chung. I really appreciate that. Um, so welcome. I am Susan Cook. Hopefully you can see my screen just fine. And with me today, I have my dear friend and great customer and partner, Michael Pearl. Mike, would you like to say hello?
Sure thing, Susan. Thank you. And it's a real pleasure to be here to share our collective story, how we've been working together over the last few years.
Great. Well, first, I cannot start my presentation without a huge compliments to the MIT CDO IQ team. This has been a great event, and the speakers have been amazing. I've been able to learn from luminaries like Doug Laney and the CDO panel with Randy Bean yesterday was amazing. And then Valerie Logan on data literacy, trends from Cindy Housen. I mean, this event has truly, I've been in data for many years, and this event truly has been kind of the who's who of data thought leaders. So I'm super impressed. So good job, MIT and the CDO IQ event group. It's just been fabulous. Okay, so let's dive right in. Let me see. Let me start sharing again just to make sure. There we go. All right, so you may not know who Zaloni is. So let me take a quick tangent. And if you did know Zaloni in the past, we kind of grew up in the big, I would say huge data space. We did a lot of big data lakes with Hadoop for large global enterprises. I joined the company 2 years ago and we pivoted to this concept of data ops. So I guess we were doing data ops before it was this cool new concept. So we've been doing this for a couple of years. And our whole charter is to provide an end-to-end governed, managed, secure, safe data ops software platform. So enterprises can, I was listening to the CDO panel about CDOs who play offense or play defense. We try to allow CDOs to do both. In terms of our customers, some of whom have been presenters this week, like TIA Nuveen. I noticed that Wendy Harrington was on one of the panels, and of course, PwC spoke yesterday. So use cases are, customer 360, regulatory issues, data marketplaces. These are very common end business use cases to implement an end-to-end data ops strategy. In terms of partners, we partner with Azure and AWS, KPMG, PwC, of course, on the call today, Snowflake, and then I'm really excited. Just last week, MongoDB announced Zaloni as their technical partner of the year. So that was just an enormous honor. So we're really excited about that. And in terms of recognition, our good friend Howard Dresner Advisory has recognized us in data pipelines and data catalogs. Along with our customer Nuveen, we won the CIO 100 Innovation Award. So good stuff is going on. And obviously it's all driven because data ops is such an important imperative right now. All right, so what is this thing called data ops? Well, we actually stole this diagram from DevOps, agile, iterative application development, software development. We think those principles and tenets apply to data. We've heard for the last 2 days, data is this golden asset. Treat data like a product. Well, if we're going to treat data like a product, that has to be delivered to the right people at the right time, in the right place, in the right way, meaning safe and governed, then this product called data has its own supply chain. So we think of this data ops cycle almost as if it were a supply chain for data in a iterative, agile, responsive way. So you'll notice this picture is divided on 2 sides. One side is the role of data engineers, data stewards, and then the other side is the consumers, or the demand side of the equation, supply and demand, data analysts and scientists. So we define this endless loop as something that happens again and again and again. And so on the data management side for the engineers and stewards, things like ensuring data quality, mastering if it's a customer or vendor or product data, establishing lineage and provenance all the way back to where that data was born, whether that's streaming off a device through Kafka or through Salesforce or wherever it is. And then capturing not just technical metadata, but operational, collaborative, experiential metadata as well. And then profiling, classifying that data so that automation, machine learning can step in and start to handle that data without human intervention. I mean, you should always know to tokenize or mask or encrypt a social security number. Okay, so then going over to the other side, that demand side, think about giving these data analysts and scientists the ability of self-service, not just to hunt and peck for what data they need. They really should have a rich shopping experience. We kind of call this the Amazonification of data provisioning. Think about it when you're shopping for a product, even if that product is data, you want to know what's the timeliness of it, what's the cleanliness of it, does it have integrity, and more often than not, you want to know if someone you know and respect recommends that data. Does the data steward bless it? Is it augmented or enriched with external data that maybe hasn't gone through all the same checks as your internal data? Those are all things you want to know when you're shopping for data. Then you want to be able to do some preparation or enrichment. You want to be able to collaborate and comment on it. And then you want to provision it in a Snowflake sandbox on AWS, or maybe ADLS on Azure, or wherever. And most importantly, once you're done with it, that data steward doesn't really want to incur costs forever and ever and ever. If you're done running that AI algorithm against it, we want to be able to blow that sandbox up and save the costs of having it sit there forever and ever, because everybody is aware of the issue of data sprawl, where people provision or put data somewhere and then it just stays there forever and ever and ever. And that's what we want to avoid. Good governance means you're creating data for purpose, but you're also eliminating it when its time is done. So it very quickly, that is how we define the data ops life cycle, or the supply chain of this golden rich product that we're all here about. We're all data geeks in this conference. So this is evolving over time, and our platform helps you manage, have transparency, visibility, but also execute all of these steps. And then you're capturing everything that happened to that data from the moment it was created to the moment it was consumed. So to us, that's end-to-end data ops. So without further complication or ado, let me introduce our partner and customer, PwC, who I think really does this well. So Mike, I turn it over to you.
Oh, thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. And yeah, as Susan mentioned, we we've been on this journey at PwC for a number of years. And to give you some context, the challenge that we face, given the sheer scale of our organization, we have almost 300,000 people spread out globally across 150 different territories. We put an estimate there, but our number of clients is significant, 30,000 plus clients across the globe, and a number of projects for each of those clients. And so when you think about the sheer scale and complexity of managing data in a very different way than historically we have, it was quite a challenge. And for us, as we all know, clients and customers are demanding better access and use and visibility into their data, and turning that into information that allows them to make the right decisions at the right time for their business. And you think about, for us at PwC, we also, to add further complexity, we operate in a regulated environment with our audit and tax businesses. And then with our consulting or advisory business, we operate across all different industries with functional specialties in deals, M&A activity, forensics, commercial consulting, risk management, et cetera. And combining all of those different aspects and bringing them together in an environment where clients are demanding that we take what we're known for, our industry and functional expertise across a wide range of topics, and take their data, first and foremost, protect their data, respect the privacy that our clients demand and that we demand of ourselves, and bring that together in a platform that allows us to protect as we get more data from our clients, to protect it from going out across laptops. We bring it into an environment that's very highly secure, and then apply our expertise in the form of our staff and professionals analyzing that data. But in addition to that, and this is where something very interesting, where we work with Zaloni, is we also have, at the same time that we were building our infrastructure and our technology, we undertook a program called Your Tomorrow, where we upskilled all of our professional staff on the latest data analytics and automation technologies to better help our clients. And we've developed thousands of automations and visualizations, analytics that reside in a repository. And what's really important for us is, because we operate at such a scale, the ability to understand the types of project we're working on, the type of data that we're working on, be able to classify that data, ingest it, store it, get it ready for analysis, and then at the same time have a catalog and a library of our digital assets that are most relevant to that data and that business issue that our clients are facing. Bringing all of that together required an enormous undertaking of how are we going to manage annotation, data cataloging, and then further, how do we then begin to associate the needs of our clients with the data that they're giving us and assets that we have at our disposal that we've developed that'll enhance the value we deliver to our clients. And this is where we worked closely with Zaloni, and this was really exciting. Zaloni has a deep history in, as Susan said, very, very big data, a lot of banking and financial services industry, which really is important to us from a regulatory perspective, and understanding the importance of data governance. And then what we working closely with them and helping provide some insight into just the scale and complexity of not only the data ops and the data management aspect of it, but also combining that with the digital assets and artifacts that are developed by our professionals that bringing that together with the data to really enhance the value to our clients. Not only has that resulted in higher value delivery for our clients, but it also, in a time when, particularly over the last 18 months, the application of technology and digital transformation and our ability to take data in at scale and apply technology from the very beginning of the times that we engage our clients has been a real differentiator for us. And we're fortunate to have had laid the foundation and working with partners like Zaloni. So Susan, I'll pause there and I'll kick it back to you. Hopefully that was a good overview of the journey we've been on and some of the value that we've been able to create together.
I think that was a pretty amazing overview. That was a lot in just a couple of minutes. One thing I did want to drill in on a little bit is PwC actually conceived this concept of the digital asset catalog. We were thinking we just needed to catalog your data. And you came to us and said, hey, listen, there's so much more to governance. Everything that touches our data, an AI algorithm, a dashboard. I mean, there's so much more that is involved in how we handle data than just the data and metadata itself. So what was an example of a use case or a driver that allowed you guys to even conceive of tracking all the digital assets, everything that touches your data?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Well, when, as I said, we had a significant undertaking, not only because when we started our journey back in late 2017, 2018, our leadership, we came together to really focus on not only the technology enablement, but bringing our staff along with that journey, such that we didn't put technology in front of them that they weren't prepared to use. And so when we did that, what we found is that our concept of citizen developer or citizen automation specialist, we gave them the tools, we gave them the training and expertise, and they've already been trained in their subject matter or industry expertise. So they were able to bring all of that together and create amazing automations. We mean thousands upon thousands. But just like any other organization or the issues that has happened with some marketplaces, they get inundated with assets and you don't really know which are the best ones to be using. So we created this catalog that allowed for people to rate them. Every asset that does get exposed to our business goes through a quality control check, because we can't have assets that are impacting the quality of deliverables to our clients that haven't been fully vetted, reviewed, and validated that they're performing the function that we intend them to perform. But even still with that, the volume was just so significant. And so we now have, and it's really, it's kind of a nice benefit to the staff as well. They get recognition for developing these assets, shows how many times the automations are run, what data that it's working with, how to use those, and they really get called out, recognized, and monetary benefits as well for their contribution to the overall benefit of the client service that we provide.
I feel like we need a graphic on the screen that says best practice. All yesterday, I kept hearing throughout a number of sessions, establishing a culture of data, establishing the culture. I'm telling you, that's a best practice right there. Recognizing people for contributing, adopting, and contributing. That's huge. All right, question for you, Mike. So you've been a leader in digital transformation and technology for many years, a thought leader within PwC and with your clients. So how have your goals around data evolved over the last couple of years? Because you are in numerous really sophisticated transformation initiatives right
Mhm.
now, internally and with your clients.
Yeah, that's a great question. I recall, my history with our initiative is I'm a client service partner by trade and in the software and advanced technology space in the Silicon Valley, and our firm leadership started to notice that teams, because we hire, as we say, we hire the best and the brightest, and they're going to figure out the best ways to serve their clients. But sometimes when that happens, investments in technology to really accelerate the value that's being delivered in a distributed environment can add adverse cost effects to your business, inconsistent ways that different territories and lines of business are doing it. And so I was asked to just take a look at how we're doing it and bring some of the practices that we help our clients with. And that formed a lot of the foundation. And at that point, it was we want to make sure that we're focusing our investments in the right place, not spending and reinventing the wheel where we didn't need to. And at the same time, what we learned, well, a couple of things that were really important is when you think about any professional services where they get a lot of data from different customers or clients, and they have laptops and things like that. Now, all laptops are encrypted and protected and all of that, but the ability now to pull all of that information and not have it spread across the way that business used to be done was a real benefit that we didn't really anticipate when we went into it. The other piece of it too was the digital upskilling and the pace at which we would see the value generated, specifically related to our client data, our proprietary data and third-party data in the form of digital assets, visualization, analytics, automations, and things of that nature. And just we kind of turned it loose to those who are closest to our clients, and it really kind of surfaced the most valuable things that we can do with data and how we deliver services to our clients. So
Bold, very, very bold, brave, giving a lot of autonomy to people who can do the right thing for clients,
Mhm.
but they might hurt themselves or your firm too. So let's talk about a governance model
Yeah.
and how DataOps, the approach contributes to that. So how do you balance and manage appropriately controls without inhibiting their ability to serve their clients?
Yeah, so that actually was one of our biggest challenges, in that not just the multifaceted matrix of our business. So we have multiple industries governed or regulated industries. Our tax and audit businesses are regulated as well, and then we spread across 150 territories globally with all sorts of different regulations. And we serve multinational clients, so clients that are headquartered in Germany but have operations all over the world. And our ability to then be able to understand the implications of that, and as data is coming into our environment, ensure applying a set of rules, business rules, against the metadata that we use your technology for, not just the technical, but the business metadata that allows us to understand what type of data is it, how is it classified, and what's the disposition? How do we need to treat that data? And on every client, the teams, and this is no different than we've done it historically, it's just more technology enabled now. When data comes in, a very secure workspace is created, and only those team members that are absolutely necessary to work on that data can work with that data, and it can't be exported to other places. The other is if it's highly confidential data, we've got highly secure environments, but we also apply other rules around de-identification and hashing of sensitive data, such that we don't have expose any kind of data that just isn't necessary for our teams to see. The other real benefit is there was always you always hear these stories of a client will just give you a bunch of data, and then when you look at it, you get it back and you look at it and it's got all sorts of social security numbers and things of that nature. And we've always had procedures for that on how to handle that. But now as data is coming in an automated way, we can auto classify and we can actually filter that out, let our clients know that we haven't even taken possession if they unintentionally give us data that isn't necessary.
I love how many times you said auto classify, automate,
Yes.
auto. I mean, that is the crux of data ops. Let's get the human intervention out of the governance and drudgery of handling data and keep it safe in an automated way. So great.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's talk about those constituents again. So the thing I love about PwC is in every sentence you seem to say it's client, client, client. You are so incredibly client focused in everything you do and say within your firm, which I laud and very much respect. So those data engineers, those data stewards, the folks that have to serve the people on the front lines, what are some of the things that you keep in mind from a data ops perspective that you absolutely have to do to ensure their success?
Sure. Yeah. One of the most important things that we focus on is we obviously have very robust organizational and other infrastructure in place to manage risk associated with how we work with our clients to ensure that we protect them, protect their information, and the confidentiality and trust that they place in us. And those that are most suited to do that understand the regulatory environment at a really a level of depth that most of us don't. And then we layer in that industry or functional expertise that really adds quite a lot of nuance to how you handle data. And so as we look to automating and really operating at scale, putting a technology solution that was overly complex and required a real depth of technical expertise wasn't realistic for us. So we really couldn't have something that was going to be that our experts who knew how to really govern, protect, and do it in a way that didn't impact our client service and how we serve our clients was critically important. So we really focused, and that was a lot of the time that we spent in the market, reviewing options and working with you and with Ben to really understand what the needs were. And that has been one of the biggest impacts of our ability to scale as we have, is this citizen-led, the ability for teams to interact with data, and not now we have a large number of people ensuring that the plumbing is working well. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of our folks, they know the subject matter, they know our clients, they know the industry, and they know what they need to do with the data. And we strip away all of the complexity of the technical complexity that quite frankly, they don't need to know.
Mm-hmm. Great. All right, I'm going to switch to a few questions in the chat. So one of them is just managing that complexity and scalability. This is a difficult one to answer because you've got so many different environments within PwC. So the question is, how do you manage that scalability? And then a corollary question to that is, are you cataloging data and digital assets across multiple environments? So the answer is yes, but I don't even know how many environments that is.
Yeah, so well, it depends, but what we have done is driven toward, when we look at it, and this has been a big issue because we have so many different clients, they use so many different technologies. And so without getting into the detail on the architecture that we designed, was really to try and abstract each layer of the technology so that we weren't getting locked in and had to create all sorts of workarounds. And so the work we've done with Zaloni has been critical to that as well, because there's times. So for instance, in an audit environment, we can't leave data that we're auditing in the operational system, because then it's going to change, and we've lost track of the lineage of the audit to say, here's the source information we have, here's the procedures we've performed, and we can now provide an opinion on that financial data. So we have to, from a just a quality and regulatory perspective, take ownership of that, lock that down, and make sure that we keep track of it. So that is our primary environment. And however, there are clients that want us to do work with their data, but they don't want us to take possession of the data. So our ability to then connect in, understand, and interrogate information sources that are either other places within PwC or at our clients, such that we better understand the data and then can apply automations and procedures to that without fundamentally taking ownership of that data, is something that's, and I would tell you that one is evolving, because the notion of how people want to treat their data, where they want it to sit in whatever environment, whether it's Azure, AWS, GCP, or other, or on-prem, we had to be prepared to have the ability to catalog and identify data wherever it sits. And then if we need to go take ownership of it, that's when our massive engine that protects from the point of consumption to when we archive or delete the data.
Fascinating. And that doesn't happen overnight. You guys have gotten pretty smart
No, it does
over
not.
the years. Hey, this one's from Professor Chung, which I think is a really fascinating question. And I haven't honestly even contemplated this, but you know, those MIT guys, they're always way out in front. He's asking if we, especially PwC, has ever contemplated, is there DataOps as a service? Professor Chung, I'm paraphrasing, but if you think about this entire thing of cloud storage, compute, security, mastering the data, governing the data, provisioning the data, you think about everything I just talked about in DataOps.
Just
Is
for
there an ability
clarification,
to do that as a service?
excuse me, just for clarification, I don't want to take a credit for someone else's question. I was just relaying the audience questions to you.
Okay.
Well, whoever asked that, then
Yeah.
that's very prescient. That's actually a fascinating question.
It is indeed, and it's an area that we are expanding into, and for us, so we actually historically our DNA is a services company, and where we developed accelerators and things from a technology perspective, it was really in the vein of how are we helping our teams apply better ways of doing things for our clients. But as you mentioned, our clients, oftentimes the amount of investment that we've put in, and it's been at this stage well over $1 billion into this environment that allows for us to account for all of these different complexities. We have in cases where we provide managed services, and managed services along the lines of getting the data and through the entire data ops lifecycle, getting it ready, and then further to that, providing some of our assets on a subscription basis for automations and analytics that our clients then can apply against the data that we help them prepare. And so digital on demand is and again, when we think about it, it's the catalog and the automations, and we've curated that further and now offer that as a service offering and a SaaS offering to our clients in particular areas where we have a real depth of expertise, not only from a domain space, but also from how do we need to handle, what data do we need, and then where do we find it, and then how do we need to handle it and bring it together to provide the value that they're looking for.
Makes perfect sense. All right, so what's next? I think this next question out of the chat is, what are some of the future use cases? Where are you headed next?
Yeah, so we have. It's interesting. We haven't completely monetized this or have don't have the immediate plans, but one of our really fascinating assets that we've built internally for our teams that uses the same foundation of where we bring all of our data, catalog, connect to operational systems is in what we call Astro. And that is our, it's on your, we have a mobile device, and I can say, Astro, what's my pipeline look like? And it will take the data, cleanse it from our Salesforce system, and then present the opportunities just by me asking the question. And I say, what, or I'll say, you know, when's the last time I connected with my staff? And it will go to our Workday system, and then curate the here's when you met last with those folks, so that and that those are just examples, but we're continually evolving not just the data, the data ops, the infrastructure, the technology, but where are people going with respect to how they interact with the technology, whether it's AR, VR, and then voice interaction, that doing something that's most natural to folks, that allows them with a plain spoken question, go in, get access to data, and have information at their fingertips. So those are the things that we're really working on. We're driving a lot of that. Obviously, we're customer zero, but it's always with an eye towards how are we going to be able to best help our clients.
Great, great. I saw one quick question, and that is on the digital assets. Do we also have lineage on the digital assets? And the answer is yes, to the extent that we can. You know, this dashboard was created on X date by this person, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not the same, you know, you don't have like the whole, you know, a AI algorithm was born in Salesforce and went through these 10 transformations to get to the final state. But to the extent that we can, yes, we can provide lineage on those digital assets. So Mike, you're brilliant. I am so impressed with what PwC has accomplished, and thank you. But before we let everybody go, there's two things. Right after this event at 5:30, our friends at PwC and Zaloni, we got together and we're like, gosh, these are all wicked smart data people. Wouldn't it be nice if this were a real conference and we were all together in Boston at MIT? We would be at some bar at the Four Seasons by the Boston Common or something like that, and continuing the dialogue. So at 5:30, we're hosting a virtual happy hour. It's kind of an experiment, just to go grab your favorite beverage and come hang out with us for an hour just to chat about what we've learned and picked up today. So to get to our happy hour, on the application for this conference, just go to the Zaloni sponsor page, and you can link from there to our virtual happy hour that starts at 5:30 in 15 minutes. The other thing is, Zaloni, we're hosting an event for chief data officers. It's we call it the DataOps virtual event. This will be our second time doing this. It's August 25th. It's virtual, and it's only half a day, but we've just got a killer lineup of speakers. Doug Laney, author of Infonomics, Valerie Logan, the goddess of data literacy, Cindy Housen, strategy officer for ThoughtSpot, Alan Chabra from MongoDB, Roy Hassan from AWS. I mean, we just have a killer lineup. And then I'm hosting a panel of some of the smartest women in data, Jody Morton from KPMG, Gail Evans from Mercer. So it's just going to be a killer event. So you can register on our website, www.zaloni.com. Easy. So with that, Mike, any final thoughts before I let you go?
No, I just want to thank you and thank MIT for the opportunity to share our story, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you for speaking so eloquently on our behalf. Like I said, PwC has it figured out for sure. So Professor Chung, I turn it back over to you. Oh, you might be on mute.
Yes, thank you. I was just saying that next year we will be back in Cambridge, so we will have a real beer meeting and real, go to restaurant and Four Seasons and so on. But this year, I think we might have to settle for virtual event. I just want to, as a representative of this symposium, I'd like to express deepest appreciation to our two distinguished speaker for sharing your insight and also your experience. Thank you very much for today's presentation. And also, I would like to say thank you to all those who participated and attended this session. Just want to let you know this is the last session of the day. Tomorrow morning we'll resume again with at 9 o'clock with our keynote speech. Actually, I think we are beginning a few minutes earlier for opening kind of the discuss as a session, but it'll be like maybe 10 minutes before 9 o'clock. But the keynote speech will begin at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So have a wonderful evening and stay tuned. More to come.